This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all,
Just
this
stop.
is a sham. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, November 10th. I'm here with my friends, Erica and Al. Feeling good?
Yeah. Yes. I love this hour. It's like, we know we're about to leave, go to happy hour. Al's going to have a soda with lime.
With lime and cranberry juice.
Yes.
Fancy.
What am I going to have?
Gin and tonic.
No, he's a beer guy. Fat tire?
I was on that gin and tonic for a little while. I haven't had one for a
because
long time.
I bought the gin for you.
The Hendrix, I know. But then when I try to be fancy, I'll be like, I'll have a gin and tonic. But really, when no one's looking, I'm just having a beer. I'm wiping the buffalo sauce off my face with my white shirt.
It's a good happy hour, baby.
All right, guys, let's get to it. Matthew McConaughey is weighing in on vaccines for his kids. Why do this, Matthew? Speaking to the New York Times, he said his 3 kids are not vaccinated and that he's against mandating the vaccine for his children. Let's watch.
He just said we can vaccinate kids. Right now, I'm not vaccinated mine, I'll tell you that. I still want to find out more information. There's going to come a time, though, and there has already in these last 2 years, obviously, there'll come a time where you're going to have to roll the dice one way or the other and go, where are the numbers in my favor?
But the U.S. Surgeon General disagrees. Let's take a look.
So what I would encourage parents to recognize is, number one, COVID is not harmless in our children. Many kids have died, sadly, hundreds of children, thousands have been hospitalized. And the vaccines have shown in these trials for children 5 through 11, they're more than 90% effective in protecting our kids from symptomatic infection. And they're remarkably safe as well. The kind of side effects they saw were a sore arm, fatigue, headache. They lasted for a day or two, and kids were actually left with protection from the virus. So please consider strongly getting your children vaccinated.
All right, Al, so I want to start with you. I have my thoughts on this. His kids are 13, 11, and 8. Kind of similar, right?
Right. Mine are 14, 13, and 7.
Yes.
Right.
So kind of similar. One, I have a couple questions here. Do you think it's good for him to even speak out about this in general? And 2, would you speak out about your children and what their status may be, or is that something personal to you?
Well, I think there's a difference, Jeff, between speaking out and just saying what's occurred. Speaking out is like, I think this is what you should do. For myself and my family, we decided to get all of our children vaccinated. My 14 and 13-year-old, who, first of all, and parents our age should all know that this younger generation is much more articulate than we are. So, like, they can speak for themselves. My kids were like, we want to get vaccinated. That happened quickly. And with our son, who's on the spectrum, my youngest son, who can't advocate for himself, like his entire life, he's been immunocompromised, so I wanted to make sure that I did what I felt was best for him. This is what I felt, but I'm not a doctor, no different than friend of the show, Matthew McConaughey is not a doctor.
Right.
And so when you have a platform like that, you are legally allowed to speak your mind. You are well within your rights to speak your mind, but you have to know, Erica, that what you're saying is going to sway some people. And if you don't have expertise in that area, it would just be really no different than you or I telling people what they should do to fix their analog brakes. Like, I don't know about braking systems and I don't know about immunization, so I wouldn't speak about either one.
Yeah, I think, the issue with Matthew McConaughey is that he's also expressed interest in running for governor of, of Texas. So now people are asking, is this a political move? Is this a strategy? Matthew McConaughey is also kind of splitting the baby because he's been very public that he's vaccinated, but then public that he doesn't necessarily want his children to be vaccinated. To be honest about it, I would imagine, being the only one on this panel without children, that might be the case for a lot of families right now. Like, it was okay for them, but they're still waiting on their children. But I don't know. You're a parent as well. What do you think?
Well, I brought up the age because I thought it was interesting. My kids are 3 and 5. I'm not even sure what the age appropriate. I think it might be 5 years old.
5 to 11, I think.
5 to 11. Right. I don't want to speak out of turn here. So my thing with this whole thing that's going, I mean, in general, I'm talking big picture, is that you're not allowed to ask a question, right? And I'm going to ask you guys a question right now. My kids are 3 and 5. I'm going to give you a real life experience. What just happened? We just took them to the doctor to get their shots last week. They had to catch up on their shots because over COVID, they couldn't. Long story short, Lawson, who's 5, was terrified, hiding under the chair, running down the hallway. Embarrassing, right? But I guess every parent kind of goes through that. Last week. So when you ask me this week, are you going to get your kids vaccinated? Mine is, hold on, let's take a breath. Lawson just had a terrifying experience. He is 5. My other one is 3. I do want to ask some questions, and I do want to talk a little bit more about it. Me asking that, me putting that question into the universe means I am not 100% on whoever side you are on, and I am anti-vax. That's the point we're at in America right now, where you're not even allowed to ask a question and have discernment of what my kids went through and how old they are.
Right.
It's getting to a point where it's a little insane for me.
I would caution you about putting that question to the universe, Jeff. I would put that question to Dr. Coley, who's...
I'm saying it to the universe because I just said it on national TV, and normally I wouldn't. I'd say, listen, that's my concern.
But you're right. A lot of people don't have access to Dr. Coley, so that's a fair response.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have questions. This Matthew McConaughey example reads to me like the antithesis of that, because he's making a declaration, much like, I mean, to be quite honest and fair, Al made a declaration of this is what we chose to do for our family. You know, and like I said before, he's not exactly on one side or the other. I mean, you're asking questions, you're vaccinated, you've been very public about being vaccinated. Your kids are also very young. So they're barely, you know, Lawson's barely even at the point where he's eligible for vaccinations. And as I said before you started talking, I think a lot of families are having this conversation, like the adults, the teenagers are vaccinated, but what do we do about, you know, our 5-year-old,
especially with holidays coming up. Especially with holidays coming up.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking. So we're having this conversation in our house right now, but to put it out there in the universe is just another story.
You'd be surprised a lot of people are having this conversation.
Right. I think it should just be directed. I don't think it should not be asked.
Yeah, well, again, it's something we're having in our house, so I thought it would be poignant to talk about it up here. Speaking of the vax, let's pile on this guy. We have an update on the Aaron Rodgers story we've been following. So the NFL is fining the Green Bay Packers $300,000 and star quarterback Aaron Rodgers $15,000 for breaking COVID protocols yesterday. So Aaron was on the Pat McAfee show again and apologized this time for misleading the public. Let's take a look.
I also know how sports can be such a connector and bring people together in times of adversity. And I do realize that I am a role model to a lot of people. And so I just wanted to start off this show by acknowledging that, you know, I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading. And, you know, to anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments.
Should that guy apologize for his tank top?
Yeah, it was.
I'm lighting it up a little bit. All right, Aaron Rodgers' fiancée, Shailene Woodley, defended her man on Instagram. She called out a news outlet for posting a photo of a random person claiming it was Aaron. She wrote, quote, "I know Aaron's body very well. First off, his feet. And no offense to this rando dude, I was trying to get it right.
It was good.
Are a lot bigger." Shailene also said Aaron's hands are the hairiest on the bleeping planet.
You know, if I can only be responsible for what I said and not how you chose to interpret it was a person, it would be Aaron Rodgers. Also, we now understand fully that Shailene is actually every character she's ever played in real life. I mean,
I love it.
We've seen her characters. Yeah. Like, you know, I think that it's not a far step.
Look, she basically just told everybody. I don't know. What do you think, Al?
You know, I look at this, and the other day we were covering the Astroworld tragedy, and I compared it to a situation where a group, there was also a tragedy in a nightclub. It was, I'm going to make sure I get this right, it was not White Snake, it was
Great White.
Great White. And so I messed that up. And if I had come on here the next day to apologize and I was like, look, I'm sorry about how I said that, but if you took it as the wrong band, I'm sorry if you took it. It's like, no, I was wrong. What I said was wrong. And when you own it, people weirdly accept it. You and I watch a lot of football, Jeff. Cole Beasley, scrappy wide receiver for the Bills. He came out, my man got one tooth. He's missing his front tooth. I don't know how you do that. But he came out, he said, I'm not getting vaxxed. Everybody's like, you're not getting vaxxed. He was like, nope. And people had a little huff. And you know what? He's not vaxxed. People still high-five him after the game because he was honest about his stance. He didn't go, well, that's just kind of how you took it, and I didn't really say that. When you're honest either way, people are going to love it or hate it, but they'll accept it. And that's why no one likes what what Aaron Rodgers did, is he still tipped like, I'm sorry, Erica, if you heard that wrong, and maybe some music was playing and you did. It's like, no. How do you feel? Be honest.
I got to agree with you on that, man.
Yeah.
Honesty is the best policy. I'm just a little weirded out that the Packers got fined more than he did, and he was the cause of that.
Right, but the Packers let him do it.
I guess so. I guess they must have known about it. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Okay, we are on.
Harry?
Erica.
Yeah.
We are here with this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Why do you think he didn't? Do you think it's just within? It's not in some people to just say I was wrong. It seems like some people can't, physically cannot do it.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not super following Aaron Rodgers or the Packers from Chicago.
Yeah.
But
we almost had it Monday night.
Yeah, Aaron wasn't exactly 100% on coming back this season.
Right.
So it seems to me like he's just a man who really doesn't care to have anything to lose. And when you're in a position like that, I said the same thing about Dave Chappelle. It's like, we know Dave Chappelle will walk away. He's walked away before. So it's like, you can't hold someone like that to the same standard as someone who is really living and breathing for this opportunity right now, because the compliance is not going to be the same. They don't have the same amount to lose. So I'm not shocked by this controversy with Aaron Rodgers at all, and I don't think he cares as much as people want him to.
I know what you're saying. I don't think he cares so much about football anymore. He wants to leave his legacy, obviously, but I think he's stepping forward as far as Hollywood goes. He's on all those State Farm commercials. He did that special golf tournament with Tom Brady. He wants to be the host of Jeopardy. He was coming out a little bit more, I think, to start his next career in life. And I think this is going to set him back.
Yeah,
now.
oh, definitely, because up until this, he was America's quarterback, really didn't have any scandals to speak of. He's an all-timer, and where he plays, Green Bay, is kind of emblematic of America in a Midwest, hard scrambled town. And so he had a lot of things going for him. And do I think this will be the end of him? Absolutely not. But I do think that, he did lose one sponsorship he had with some health system.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for sponsors to attach their name to it unless he makes this right. And I think if you make it right, people will fuss for 3 hours and then it'll just be over. But it's continuing to go.
Welcome back to DBL. Well, it looks like Chris Evans is not People Magazine's sexiest man alive. Al still got a chance.
Yes.
So last week, Page 6 reported that the Captain America actor was the sexiest man in the land, but it looks like the title went to another Avenger. Sorry, Al. Paul Rudd got it, buddy. You were in there.
Do you have to be in the Avengers to be sexy?
I think so. Paul Rudd has been officially named People's Sexiest Man Alive. The actor, he's 52, may not have been the obvious choice. In fact, Paul said his wife was stupefied when she heard the news.
That's funny.
On The Late Show, Stephen Colbert made fun of it all by putting Paul through a grueling interview and a physical exam to test his sexiness. He also did a sexy photo shoot. In the end, he passed with flying colors. Let's watch.
You're the sexiest man alive! You're the sexiest man alive! I'm the sexiest man alive!
That's how you accept that award.
That's
how you accept that award.
Love that. I love a Paul Rudd type being named the sexiest man alive. Paul Rudd, I don't know. My impression was that he was one of the nicest guys, like authentically one of the nicest guys.
It's not the nicest guy alive contest.
But no. I'm just saying, but also he's one of those anomalies where he gets better looking with age. And I think because of that, he does. He totally does. And I think because of that, it makes him even more attractive to people because he had this very boy next door. What is wrong with you, Al?
You know where this is going,
That is the booth putting the camera on me, okay? And they're putting on the camera on me because I'm trying to be an adult about this. I sent you guys a petty text earlier this morning.
This has been going on for a week or so.
And our executive producer. I cannot let it go. My girl had to talk me out of it this weekend about texting an argument at Saturday night about this. I love Paul Rudd. I like his vibe. I like his energy. He's a good-looking guy for 52. But, like, what contest is this? Is this the sexiest man or the guy that seems really charming at a party contest? Because we can't have both. Who's the most attractive person on the planet? That, like, I'm sorry, it's probably not a 52-year-old dude.
So you want a symmetry contest is what you're saying?
I'll take it. Because if we're just looking at looks,
so yes, People Magazine next year, make sure you have the most symmetrical man alive.
Yes.
So that Al can be happy.
Yes, he's called Michael B. Jordan. He looks like he was cut out of. I'm saying it should be in that realm. You can't go from him to the Paul, and I like Paul.
And for the record, Michael B. Jordan gets sexier the older that he gets, and he was also one of those people. And granted, he started acting young, but he came into his own. People weren't like, "Look at that sexy man on what was it, Seventh Heaven?" Wasn't he on like Seventh Heaven?
He was on The Wire. We have to go.
I knew
or
it was
Parenthood.
go here. We ran out of time. We'll be right back, but I knew it was
we need
going
a whole other show.
Prediabetes is a serious health condition where blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but not high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 3 American adults are pre-diabetic, but the CDC says more than 84% of those people don't know they have it. A simple blood sugar test will tell you if you're pre-diabetic. The problem is many people aren't getting tested for it. Dr. Griffin Rodgers, director of the National Institute of Diabetes, Digestive, and Kidney Diseases at the NIH, says undiagnosed and untreated prediabetes can develop into even worse health conditions.
If you have prediabetes, within the next 5 to 10 years, you have a 50% chance of developing frank diabetes.
If patients aren't getting tested for prediabetes, then is there another way for people to know if they're pre-diabetic? Let's verify. Our sources are the CDC, the American Diabetes Association, Dr. Michael Berry, Vice Chair of the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, and Dr. Griffin Rodgers. Our sources say the short answer is no. There's not a way to know if you're pre-diabetic without a test. But according to the CDC, some people are more at risk for prediabetes than others, including being 45 years or older, having a parent, brother, or sister with type 2 diabetes, and or being physically active less than 3 times a week. According to the American Diabetes Association, quote, there are no clear symptoms of prediabetes, so you may have it and not know it. But before people develop type 2 diabetes, they almost always have prediabetes, unquote.
The task force recommends that for adults aged 35 to 70 who have overweight or obesity, that they be screened for diabetes and prediabetes.
So we can verify, no, there is not a way to know if you're pre-diabetic without a test. So if you want to know, just ask for a test at your next appointment. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till.
Welcome back to DBL. Who deserves a second chance? Well, Sandra Bullock's new movie, The Unforgivable, tests that very question. Earlier, we were joined by one of the film stars, Vincent D'Onofrio. That's today's Chatting with the Stars.
Please welcome to the show the mesmerizing force that is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Oh, so first and foremost, we're all big fans here. You're so talented. And the remarkable Viola Davis, very talented as well, plays your wife in this movie. But this is actually the second time you two have worked together. How was this experience different from the time that you guys worked on Law & Order together?
It was much more, I guess, intimate is the way to say it. We got to know each other a little bit. Back in the day when I was doing Law & Order, everything, you know, we worked so much, Kate Irby and I. And so when the guest stars would come in, we would spend a little time with them, but not a lot of time. Whereas with a movie, it's a completely different set to be on. And so it was really nice. You know, she's such an amazing lady. And also, as you know, she's just an incredible actress. So just to hang out with her and talk with her and play her husband in something was fantastic.
John? There's a woman in the front yard.
Can I help you with something?
Vince, obviously, this is a heavy movie, and we've been hearing a lot of bad stuff from sets, but I'm hoping you have some fun stories from set involving Viola.
The most strange thing about the whole thing was we were doing it when we went back to we had to stop when COVID happened in March, and then we had to take a break, and then we went back. And when we went back, it was Netflix was one of the first companies to come up with how to do it and how to do it right and safely. So we had to wear masks and shields and stuff. But Viola and I had never done a scene together yet. We didn't play husband and wife yet. So now we find ourselves on a set wearing masks and shields for rehearsal, and you're only allowed to take them off when when the camera's rolling for real. But so that was like, we were wondering, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we can't, like, at that point you couldn't even touch, you couldn't. So we had to figure out a kind of looks between us and just a kind of vibe, rather than, because when you leave a house, like if there's a scene where you're with your husband or with your wife and you have to leave the house, I usually kiss my wife goodbye or whatever, but we couldn't do anything like that. We couldn't even, touch, really. It was pretty crazy.
Got to be tough for an actor. So can I call you Vince or is it Vincent? What do you prefer? Al just assumed
you can call me anything you like.
Al just said Vince, like he knew
I really
you.
did. Like we've been hanging out for years.
Yeah.
I feel close to him. I've been looking at him for
but
years.
What if he doesn't prefer Vince?
It's actually, it's actually Vincent, but I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, that was a little dig at you, Al.
I deserved it.
We're going to make a big deal about it.
We're kidding, Vincent.
So,
We're kidding.
Vincent,
Go ahead, make a big deal.
You've had some iconic roles, from Law & Order to Full Metal Jacket to Kingpin. So when you're out on the street, which one is the most recognizable to fans? What do you get most?
It depends on the age, Like if anybody in the military, any age they are, it's Full Metal Jacket, And anybody in their from 20 to 30 is Kingpin, and then everybody is Law & Order. So I would say right now the most popular is Kingpin for that certain age group.
I don't understand why we don't have sugar water for you.
Give me sugar.
No one gets you from Men in
Yeah, that
Black?
wasn't bad, actually. That was pretty good.
Sir.
You really committed to that, Tori. I'm impressed. That could have gone really bad.
I have butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
I have vocal work.
Like that might be the end of our show.
Okay, here we go. Your daughter, Layla George, has recently made headlines regarding her divorce from Sean Penn. Divorce we take really seriously, and it's difficult, and we're honest and nuanced here on the show, especially though when it's made publicized like theirs. Just wanted to know how she's doing, how she's handling the extra eyes all on her.
She's great. I'm really lucky to have a daughter like Layla. She's a fabulous woman. The story is not really about their love life, because I'm a dad and I have to stay out of that stuff. I just know that my daughter is a level-headed woman, and she's going to do what she wants to do as a woman in this world. So the real story is that. The real story is that what kind of woman she is, which it's pretty amazing.
Wow. Good dad.
Jeff is a little watching.
That was beautiful.
Jeff's a father, so you
it's
hit it right
beautiful
in
to
the
hear
heart.
father talk like that.
Yeah, it is.
It's very admirable. Vincent,
and thanks for skipping over Jeff like I'm not a father of three.
Because you are.
Al's seen his kids a few times, pictures and the like.
I was responding to that. Jeff had tears in his eyes.
Okay, maybe my tears are on the inside.
Okay.
My tears were the embarrassment for Tori when she said sugar water.
Okay.
Vincent, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with us.
Yes.
The Unforgivable drops
you
on
guys
Netflix.
are great.
Thank you. On December 10th, but will be released in limited theaters this month. Vincent, thank you again for joining us. We'll
Appreciate
be right
you,
back.
brother. Thank you.
Bye.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
There is, it's a palpable sense of urgency this year among employers who are looking for seasonal workers.
This year, employers are trying hard to convince you to work for them. Want proof? Just look at jobsiteindeed.com. More than 10% of seasonal job postings there mention urgently hiring. Last year, those words only appeared on 1% of postings. Workers are still in short supply. Some are taking their time getting back into the workforce after either getting laid off during the pandemic or quitting. And frankly, It pays to be choosy. If you're looking for a side hustle this holiday, keep an eye out for how an employer is sweetening the pot. Amazon, for example, is offering a signing bonus of $3,000 in some locations, plus an extra $3 an hour for working certain shifts. The bottom line, do your research and don't be afraid to ask for what you want. The extra money you make will help. The holiday season will be more expensive because of product shortages, among other things. And that's Connecting the Dots. Alexandra Lewis, 9 News.
Have you been to the store and seen one of these signs? It claims there's a national coin shortage, and in response, they ask for either exact change or contactless payment. So, is there a national coin shortage for businesses? To find out, we went to the Federal Reserve and the American Bankers Association. Here's what we found. There's not an actual shortage of coins in the United States. According to the Federal Reserve, it increased production of coins in 2020 by 20% to mint more than 14 billion coins. So where did they all go? Well, apparently back home with you. The American Bankers Association sent us this statement. Quote, "The problem is COVID-19 has changed how coins are being used, causing a slowdown in coin circulation. Fewer consumers are using the change they receive in cash transactions to make other purchases. Instead of going back into circulation, the coins are piling up in piggy banks." So what's their solution? It comes down to you. Check your pockets, search the sofas, go through that change drawer, find America's change and get it back into circulation at your local businesses or bank. So we can verify, yes, there is a shortage of coins in circulation for businesses.
Move over inflation, make way for a new term, skinflation. Let's connect the dots. More and more folks are fed up with companies skimping on customer service. Delivery times for Domino's pizzas have gotten longer. Disney hasn't brought back its tram service at its theme parks, and airline passengers suffering massive, seemingly random flight cancellations, as well as hotels cutting back on daily housekeeping. Experts say the suddenly shoddy service is a result of labor shortage and rising business costs. Instead of passing along those costs, some businesses cut corners in services they provide, often without telling you. And folks have noticed overall customer satisfaction is at its lowest levels in 15 years, and skinflation is likely partly to blame. I'm Audrey Casoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. If you're still looking for health insurance for 2022, you're in luck. It's time for some helpful tips presented by Health Markets. If you haven't decided on a plan or haven't started looking yet, don't worry. This year's open enrollment season is longer than usual, so you'll have until January 15th to pick a plan. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all option when it comes to healthcare, so be sure to comparison shop to find the most cost-effective plan for you and your family. Health Markets can help you find a plan in minutes. Just call 800-390-9633 or log on to healthmarkets.com to learn more. See you guys tomorrow.